Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new Yu-Gi-Oh video for you guys today, another Cyber Dragon video. As you guys know, I've been doing a lot of testing. For anybody who hasn't seen this series yet, the link to the playlist will be down below. But basically, we're trying to make Cyber Dragon as competitive as possible with our new support coming out May 2nd in the TCG, because that same weekend is YCS Providence, Rhode Island, which is like a half an hour away from my house. So new support for my favorite deck plus YCS, it's like I have to go. So we've been messing around with different cards, trying out different things in Cyber Dragon, and today we're here to try out something very different. So, Dominus Purge and Dominus Impulse. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a deck that exclusively uses lights and darks. Why would we put these cards in our deck? So, for anybody that doesn't know what Dominus Impulse and Dominus Purge do, I'll go over them real quick. They're kind of like Infinite Impermanence, where there are trap cards that can also double as hand traps. If your opponent controls a card, you can activate this card from your hand. When a card or effect is activated that includes the effect to special summon a monster, that's so many things. Anything that special summons from deck, anything that special summons from hand, anything that fusion summons, an effect that synchro summons, like, it has so many targets. Negate the effect, then if you have a trap in your graveyard, you destroy the card as well. If you activate this card from your hand, you cannot activate the effects of light, earth, and wind monsters for the rest of the duel, but you can only activate one Dominus Impulse per turn. And then Dominus Purge, if your opponent controls a card, you can activate this card from your hand. When a card or effect is activated that includes an effect that adds a card from your deck to your hand, negate that effect, then if you have a trap in your graveyard, destroy that card. If you activated this card from your hand, you cannot activate the effects of dark, water, and fire monsters for the rest of this duel. You can only activate one Dominus Purge per turn. Now, this is basically like another Ash Blossom. The thing that's cool is if your opponent controls a card, doesn't mean the card has to stay on the board. Like, for example, if they play a spell card, they control a card, you can activate these cards from hand. The reason I'm trying them is because I started really thinking about it. Even with my build and my big combo chain that I've showed in my previous video, with Dominus Impulse, it locks us out of our light and earth monsters. That absolutely hurts, because the light side of our deck right now is actually our control side. Same with the earth. You know, Clockwork Knight gets us into Therion King, that's another negate. Our light side gets us into Infinity and Heals Farag. But our dark side is where our OTK comes from. So our dark side, it basically takes our 12 starters and condenses them into 7 one-card OTKs, because we can get an OTK off of Claw, Realm, and Chimera. Granted, we need to have just about any spell card in the deck or trap card. So even if we end up using Dominus Impulse going second, we can still OTK our opponent on our following turn. Purge is the opposite, where it locks us out of our darks. We still get access to all of our lights and all of our earth effects, so we can do majority of our combo. The only thing that does suck is that we lose out on Cyber Dark Worm, which is kind of the bridge into our longer combos. But other than Worm, we have access to everything else. It actually makes Jormungandr a much more viable card, because we'll Purge on our opponent's first turn. Next turn, we're going to be able to use Cyber Jormungandr to still get into Infinity to be able to establish some form of control. Or we can also go... Now, those are the things we're trying. I have some footage that I recorded for you guys previously. It's not going to be live just because it's a little bit harder to do live gameplay with Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes you don't open the cards you want. Sometimes your opponents just up and leave if they don't open up with a good hand, or as soon as you start playing, they'll leave. So it's a little bit harder to get live footage, and I don't have all day to record. So I was recording throughout the day, and I've got a few games of us going first with these cards, a few games of us going second with these cards, and I just want to talk to you guys about it with the footage as well. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, drop a like, subscribe. Let's go jump into the gameplay. All right, so this is our first game, and in this game, we were going first. So I fast forward through a lot of this because we were able to set up our entire board, and if you guys want a better explanation of my full Cyber Dragon combo, you guys can look at the first video of this series, or the first video of the YCS part of the series, where I explained the 2 main combos that we built the deck around. But this combo, on top of the trap cards and the hand traps, we basically shut our opponent down completely. So I'm gonna do a high-speed version of our combo. Core searches Realm, Realm searches Chimera, Realm to normal summon Chimera. I did speed it up. Maybe I should have sped it up a little more, but it's okay. Now we link Clockwork Knight, Core into Clockwork Knight, send the Realm. Realm grabs Clockwork Knight the spell. Chimera to dump Clockwork Knight, add Power Bond. Now we link into SP Little Knight. So this person we actually did a match against. This was game 3. Game 1 they had beat me. I didn't really see anything, and they had established the whole board. Game 2, I had blown them out without being able to do anything, and this was game 3, and this was the one that was good. So we sent Chimera. Chimera dumped Worm. Worm's effect dumped Hertz. Add back Cyber Emergency. Hertz effect. Add Cyber Dragon from the deck. And then Clockwork Knight, discarding OG Cyber Dragon to add Therion King Regulus, and then Therion King Regulus to equip Cyber Dragon from the grave. This protects us from Nib. This is our 6th summon, so they could have hit us on the first 2, but those 2 cards, I don't see anybody really doing that, especially when I just search a Therion King. But now we get rid of Hertz and Core to summon Rampage. Rampage effect, dump Naxter and Jormungandr, overlay into Nova. Nova effect, special summon Naxter. Naxter effect, special summon Jormungandr. Special summon Infinity. And then Jormungandr to get Fusion Substitute, bouncing back the equipped Cyber Dragon. So now we still have the two materials on board. Well, I guess you got to see the whole combo anyway. Go into Heals for Rog. Heals for Rog's effect to get Power Bomb back on my opponent's standby phase. And then lastly, Fusion Substitute, sending back Chimera Tech Rampage to draw an additional card, which we then drew into Dominus Purge. And now we get to set 3 insanely powerful trap cards. Even our opponent was just like, who's the OTK deck again? So I thought it was funny. This opponent was cool. We had a little bit of banter back and forth, but now we set 3 Impulse, Purge, and Impermanence. 3 ridiculously powerful trap cards on top of the 4 interruptions we have on board, and we have an Ash Blossom in hand. So I did not see our opponent playing through this, because that's what, 3, 7, 8 interruptions. And we get Power Bond back. We have OG Cyber Dragon in hand and Emergency for the following turn. So we have OTK potential in our hand right now, on top of whatever we draw for turn. We were good to go. Don't mind the text at the bottom. Our opponent brought up Cyber Dragon. They were playing Gladiator Beasts, and we ashed their first search. And apparently they had no follow-up. They had a handful of monsters. So that was the end of that game. They surrender right here. So that just shows you right there, real quick. That was to show you how full combo, this is what we do, and this is how much stronger it makes our combo. That is an insane amount of interruptions in a Cyber Dragon deck. And now this game is again us going first. We open up with Dominus Purge, and this time we do the Cyber Dark half of the combo, though I did end up messing up the combo, and you actually can see how Dominus Purge actually helps me after messing up my combo. And I'll even point to you guys the part I mess up on. So we get discard Claw, get Realm. Realm grabs Chimera. Chimera links away for Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight effect to send Realm, and then of course Chimera's effect to dump Worm. So we dump Worm, we search Clockwork Knight. Now we bring back Worm, dumping Cyber Dragon Core, and then we add the Cyber Dark Realm back to hand. Now Clockwork Knight sends Worm back to the grave. Chimera discarding. I was supposed to discard I didn't discard Clockwork Knight here because I already have Therion King in hand, and Clockwork Knight can also double as a floodgate, so I discarded the Realm that I added to hand. But this is where I make the misplay. I am not supposed to go into SP Little Knight yet, because we need SP Little Knight's effect to banish a fusion material later. I was supposed to go into Power Bond, and I realized that as soon as the okay for the effect went off, I was like, oh no, I messed up. But now we Power Bond, banishing Worm and Core, which is what we're supposed to do, and now we're supposed to dump Hertz and Core to add Core back to hand. We end up with our proper field, but we have to jump through a lot more hoops. Like, we weren't supposed to summon this yet either until we summon our second Rampage. But now we normal summon Core. This gets us into Cyber Load Fusion. So this is where we're supposed to go into SP Little Knight. Same materials and everything, because then we would have banished that Hertz, not attached it to Therion King, which then we would have had the materials to make a second Chimera Tech Rampage, and then Therion King we could have attached Chimera because we were done with it, and then we would have sent the 2 cores back to deck, the core and the Hertz from Banish, leaving the core on board. Now we dump Naxter and Jormungandr, overlay into Nova. We continue our combo as normal. We just have to do an additional step here, because now we get back Jormungandr. The problem with Jormungandr, well, not Jormungandr, but Fusion Substitute, is that the Fusion Substitute can only fuse on board. That's why we wanted the core on board. But now we have to bounce back the Naxter, get the Fusion Substitute. Now we can use Naxter's effect to summon it, discarding a monster. It's just we had to do an additional step. And then we still get to do that same part of the combo. It did cost us an extra card, which does kind of suck, or an extra 2 cards, but it gets us back into our 4 negates, our extra draw here. We do still have Dominus Purge, and we have a draw on Lockbird, and we just drew into an Impermanence, and we have Clockwork Knight as a floodgate if they have a deck that's locked behind monster type. So now we still have 7 interruptions and a floodgate, and we have Power Bond to follow up. Though, because we had to burn up so many cards, we don't have, you know, as good a follow-up for the Power Bond. We do have Therion King, which could get us something with the Hertz, but that's all we have. Our opponent goes for a search, and we hit them with the Dominus Purge here. They go with the Witchcrafter, and they use the effect to try and get a search. I had to read what it did there, that's why I paused, and then we activate Infinite Impermanence, saving our other 4 negates for anything else they might play. And I think their Link 1 requires a Spellcaster, which we obviously turned off by having Clockwork Knight on the board, and our opponent surrenders there. Really, really solid board. Now, this game, we're going second, so now you get to see us actually use the Dominus cards as hand traps. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've played against Speedroid many times, and I still don't know where the best point to stop them is. So I kind of had to feel for it. At this point, I actually was just, I'm not going to use Dominus Purge because it locks me out of my darks, which, as you see, we have Cyber Dark Realm in hand, so that's our link into our dark cards. So I'm like, do I want to stop myself from being able to play darks when I have a hand that can go into my dark cards? Like, we're opening 2 starters, which is great, but I didn't want them to make a board I couldn't stop. So this is where I decided to Dominus Purge. I don't know if this was proper. The thing about these cards that I like is that they are extremely skill and knowledge based. They're ridiculously powerful cards that can screw you if you use them at the wrong point. Even in our Cyber Dragon deck, if you use them correctly, though, they can basically guarantee you the win if you know what you're doing with them. I have been out of the game for a very long time, so my knowledge is limited. I do need to study some more, and I do need to practice some more. But let me know, guys, what you would have done in this situation. Would you have just saved the Purge and just set it on your next turn, or would there have been a different point where you would have used it here? Let's watch the rest of the match. Still special summoning. Even off his first summon, he got a search, and I was just like, do I want to grab that here? Now he's got 2 tuners, links into a new monster. This brings back another monster. So with using the Purge, we are locked out of the dark side of our cards. So we did have to do a little thinking here. But we found a good course to go. You'll see in a second. I didn't realize what was going on when I first saw this, so I kind of had to figure it out. I didn't realize he was waiting for me to pick. I was multitasking. Now he special summons another monster, makes another synchro. And this one I think can become what, any level. Oh, it turns the other monster into another level. All right, this is not a super powerful board that we're going into, so I felt pretty good. I was like, I must have Dominus purged at a decent time because this looks okay. But we go with emergency. Now, I'm not playing... If I was playing Cyber Repair Plant in this board, I might have emergencied into core and then core to search Repair Plant, but we're not. So instead, since our opponent controls monsters, I went for Jormungandr. We have Cyber Dragon in the deck. It's our second turn. We're ready to go. I normal summon Hertz. Now, if you guys remember, all of these... Oh, he does try to draw and lock bird us. I don't draw for the rest of turn, so I didn't need to do this here. But it was just force of habit. I was like, if there's something I want to search, I don't want to be stopped because of Droll and Lockbird. So I do end up call buying the Droll and Lockbird. But you'll see the rest of the turn, I don't search for anything else. I didn't see the point of playing Realm because like I can't use my dark monsters. So I normal summon Hertz. This forces a response out of my opponent because both of his monsters, the high speed monsters, are machines. So he has to deal with it, otherwise I just contact fuse his board away. So he bounces the Hertz back to hand, so then I activate Jormungandr. Special summon it. Bang. Now, I don't have any Cyber Dragons in the grave. I would have linked or fused the Hertz away, which would have gave me a Cyber Dragon in grave. But since I don't, we just go into Nova, and then straight into Infinity. And if you didn't know, in a simplified game state, Infinity is awesome. And now we use Infinity's effect. I was reading their effects real quick to see which one's more dangerous. We just grab the Synchro, absorb it as a material, and then swing over the other monster. If he had any kind of response, obviously Infinity's an Omni Negate. He's got to go into his hand with no cards on board, no cards in hand, and facing down an Omni Negate. Follow up with setting our realms for bluffs. And pass turn. And our opponent surrenders. Like I said, did I do Dominus Purge right? Not sure. You guys let me know in the comments. Now, this game is another game where we go second, and I want to say we opened up Purge and Impulse here. Yes, we opened up both. And we open up cards that get us both into the light side and the dark side. So I had to pick and choose which one I wanted to use. I was trying not to use them here. That's why I actually use Ash first, which is also correct because, you know, when the trap cards locked me out of Fire Monster, so I think Purge, so I would lose out on the Ash. And I wasn't going to use the traps. I was going to save them to set on my following turn, you know, Cyber Traps. But being that we're playing against heroes and Destiny, the new Destiny heroes, I wasn't sure what was coming at me, and then he drops Destiny Fusion, and I was just like, yeah, Fusion Destiny, and I was like, nah, no. I end up hitting that with Inferno, with Impulse, which now locks me out of my light monsters. So all I have for this game is my darks. Now, it stops me from activating light effects, but if the card already has a continuous effect, kind of like our baby Cyber Dragons where they're treated as Cyber Dragon, we can still use that. So our babies plus Clockwork Knight is still a board wipe. That's why I was like, are these trap cards worth looking at again? That's why I started experimenting with them. And I personally, so far, I think they're interesting. I don't know if I'll play both. I don't know if I play both, but I'm definitely considering playing one. Maybe I'll consider trying to be less reliant on the dark package and keep Purge, or maybe I will try to find better ways to play if I have to play under Impulse, so that way I can still try and push harder for a game with my dark side. Maybe I add a couple extra cards, but we'll have to see. He continues comboing out. Now, I was a little upset because I saw that he added the plasma to hand. I could have purged the plasma, but that would have locked me out of everything. And I didn't realize he could get 3 monsters just like that. So now I make a misplay here. Let me know if you guys catch it, because I end up fixing it a couple turns later. But I'm just like, oh my god, what am I going to do? He just hit me with plasma. If I summon a monster, he's just going to absorb it. I have no monster effects. What do I do? Chat, comment section, what would you guys have done here? I end up figuring it out, but it almost kills me. He punches me for 19. If he had attacked me, whatever that monster is he set, he would have won. Just watch what happens. So I end up drawing into core. I'm like, great, core has no effect. So I set core. Again, misplay. Right now I'm just trying to live. Summon Shadow Mist. Doesn't make any links, doesn't do anything else, which is kind of crazy to me. Doesn't equip the monster. I thought Plasma could equip face down monsters. So this is kind of my opponent's fault, but I also should not have been in this situation in the first place. So now we took a 2000 to the face, and it clicks here what I should have done. Right here, I should have known what I'm supposed to do here. So I go with Cyber Emergency, and I'm like, cool, I should just grab a Cyber Dragon, special summon Cyber Dragon, and swing over Plasma. It's only 19. But I forgot that I had used Impulse, so I'm locked out of my lights. So I grab Jormungandr. I'm like, cool, Plasma doesn't hit Jormungandr. Jormungandr's in the hand. But I'm like, oh wait, I can't activate Jormungandr. I'm like, oh yeah, I used Impulse. Damn. So, you know, bad plays. And surprisingly, he still doesn't play anything. He just goes in battle phase and swings. And he hits me for 39, leaving me with 200 life points left. So like I said, that turn that he played Avion in defense, if he had swung at me with it, I'd be in deep shit. But he didn't do it. So I'm like, all right, we're in the game. I drew into another Impulse, which I'm like, you know what? I have Impulse, Purge, and Call by the Grave face down. I have a serious chance to steal this game. So I special summon Cyber Dragon, and I just punch Plasma in the face. Fuck a Floodgate. No responses. It dies. Cool. Main phase 2. We set Impulse, and we have Cyber Dark Realm to push for next turn. So we're gonna. I even activate it now. The way I thought it is like, if for some reason I can't search next turn, I already have it in hand. Like he doesn't have Ash Blossom now, and I have the Call by. If for some reason I don't have Call by next turn, or he does have Ash, and I can't search, I'm gonna be pissed. So let me just do it now. Get the normal summon. I'm trying to think if there's a way I can get into something more stable, like SP Little Knight. This was just to get Chimera into the grave, to get Worm, because Worm is still live. Our dark cards are still live. We use Worm here. Doesn't matter what we dump because we can't get it back. It's a shame that we can't go into Infinity here, but you know, it is what it is. Still just thinning out fluff out of the deck that's not going to do anything for us right now. And then we go into Chaos Angel, which I forgot I put in the deck. And guess what? Chaos Angel is a dark monster, so Chaos Angel gets his effects. So he can't be destroyed by battle, he's unaffected by monster effect, and he gets to remove one of my opponent's cards on summon. So get that Shadow Mist out of here, because you don't need a search. And I was like, I don't need SP Little Knight right now, because SP Little Knight is also a dark monster, so SP Little Knight would still work. So even under Impulse, we do have plays. We do have plays here. So our opponent has 3 cards in hand. We have 3 interruptions on board. They do Dark Ruler no more, and I'm like, I don't know what this gets them, because we didn't have any kind of negates or protection on board. All of our stuff are spell and trap cards, so we don't do it. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about it, but we're not worried about it. All it did was turn off Chaos Angel's protection, and only for the turn. So I'm like, where is he going to go with this? End phase. That's where he went. And then we proceed to just get some materials. They try to hit us with Ash. We honestly could have let the Ash just go, but I wanted to be able to push a little bit harder. So we call by the Ash, grab the core, normal summon the core, and then we just link the core with the Clockwork Knight just to get SP Little Knight. Just to have an actual form of interruption on the board. Boop, boop, bang. We could have banished his monster, but then we wouldn't be able to attack, so I was just like, I'll just go battle phase. Swing in. Swing 33 with Chaos Angel. Main phase 2 and end phase. Now, like I said, I don't. You guys know I don't like having dead cards, so this Yomengander sitting in my hand does suck. But oh, and then he tries to do another search, and you guys already know we have Dominus Purge set and Dominus Impulse face down. So let's hit the Purge, stop him from getting his search, and he proceeds to end. And now you guys get to see 2 games of us going second and how those hand traps can really help us. That, and you also get to see how we can play when we're restricted to what elements we can use. Now, while I have been singing nothing but praise for these cards, I also said that they are very skill intensive cards, because if you use them the wrong way, you will screw yourself. And that's why I saved this last game, so you guys can see how badly they can shut us down if not played properly. So this last game is us going second against Tistina. We obviously have Purge and Impulse. I don't know anything about Tistina. I don't know how to play against Tistina. They go for a search here. I immediately was like, do I do this? I don't know what they're even playing. I actually thought they were playing Canine, because I've seen this card in Canine a lot, but we just let it go. And if you look, we have a really good hand. We don't want to play Purge because we don't want to lock ourselves out of Darks, because we have an entire Dark-based hand that can actually lead to an OTK. Like, this is a great hand for us. So I'm like, okay, I have Impulse. What do I Impulse here? So he plays this monster, tries to get an effect to summon, and I'm just like, I don't want him to have an extra body. Let me Impulse. All right, cool. So another thing that's funny that happens on the next turn, we end up getting shut down by 1 interruption. Because in this testing I had taken out Cybernetic Horizon to fit in these cards. If I had had Cybernetic Horizon, we would have been able to probably OTK, which is kind of funny, but it is what it is. So now I have no idea what's going on. I, again, don't know Tistina at all. Like, I've never even read the cards, so I did speed up this part of the footage, trying to let our opponent combo out. I wish I had a better explanation for you guys. He makes this 1 XYZ. He has 4 cards in hand, so I don't know what he had for hand traps. But as you see, there's like no response to us searching Realm. If I had Horizon, that's what I would have searched, and I would have played the other Realm. And when he destroys the Realm here, I would have played Horizon, dumping the Worm, which also would have turned Worm on, because we would have grabbed a Cyber Monster. The other thing that sucks is the other downside to Impulse is just the combination of elements, because it shuts off our Light Engine, but it also shuts off our Earth. If we hadn't Impulsed, I don't know what his board would have looked like, but we would have been able to summon Regulus, and now we're not. Regulus is just a dead card in our hand. So, like I said, I don't know if that's what I should have hit with Tistina. Again, I don't know Tistina at all, but I just look at Regulus and I'm like, I could have summoned Regulus if I hadn't used Impulse. Like, even now, like, looking at my hand, it's like I don't have anything that my light monsters would have done, but I don't know what I could have done had I not Impulsed. And then, of course, I was missing Cybernetic Horizon here. That's a discard fodder for Worm. I do feel like a little bit that Cyber Dragon needs some discard cards, like cards that require you to discard, just because we have good cards we want to see in the grave. And he just combos me out again, gets rid of my Purge, and he ends up OTKing me here. Yeah. He just makes a big ass field and punches me in the face. It looks like he had a lot of gas, so 2, 4, 6. Oh yeah, F0. I forgot about this. At this point, I was kind of clocked out of the game because I was also doing something else at the time, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I'd lose. And that's 3, 6, and that's 8,000 life points exactly. GG. Alright guys, here's one more look at the build we were just testing. I forgot to also mention that I added in Cleave Genius. I don't really like Cleave Genius. I mean, it can negate one of our cards, negate one of our opponents, which is cool. Can sometimes help break a board. But the big reason I put it in is because I was seeing a lot of Nightmare Griffin. And if you look at our Link monsters, the only one that has a Link arrow pointing down is Seeger. And that's only one. At least Genius is split down. So say we have Infinity and Heals Farog, we can give up SP Little Knight to still maintain those two negates. So I wanted to make sure I still had options if I needed to link a different way. That's why he's in there. But you guys got to see both the good and the bad of Impulse and Purge. Let me know what you guys think about it. Like I said, they're cards that I'm really interested in because they work going first and second. And the more you know about the matchups, the more you know about your opponent's deck, the more you know about the game in general, the better they are as cards. I do like that even without having to change my main combo or much in the deck, we still have options to play if we put ourselves under these restrictions, but they are super strong cards. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will be down below. If you guys want to see me play some Yu-Gi-Oh! Live, let me know down in the comments and I'll set up a Yu-Gi-Oh! Stream. We're definitely going to have at least one training stream before YCS. We still got, what, 3 weeks before YCS? Give or take. And let me know any other ideas you guys have down in the comments, other things you want to see me try out in the deck. I'm all ears because I really need to get on my grind game. But that's going to be it for me, guys. And I will catch you on the next video. Later.
In my eyes, I was born for this. I got demons on my side, you ain't right like this. I got reason to believe, I don't need it from my gifts. Only I can change the world, let it go like this.